Welcome to the astrology forecast for the week of August 24th through the 30th. It's a second eclipse that we've had in 2 weeks, and the eclipse this week is telling us to speak it and then release it. I'm going to break it down simply for us. I'm Teresa Ann, your host, where I translate what the cosmos is telling us so that we can live our higher calling. And what do we need to do that? We need to be our highest self, living on our highest path. So that is our lens here. Let's break it down. First of all, we have a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces that's closing out. We have one more eclipse left in this 18th or so month cycle, but it is closing out what has been happening for over a year. And then we have another eclipse cycle that's also been starting up. So we have two different eclipse cycles happening, one closing out, one beginning. And when we really understand them, we know how to be in the flow so that we can be in the alignment, not only of our own values and our mission, our dreams coming into reality, but being in the flow of the alignment with the universe, the cosmos. All right, so here we go. So this week's, it's an actual chapter that's closing in our lives, like an actual chapter that's closing. And sometimes when we're wanting to manifest the new, it can be really important, but an oversight, because we want to be jumping into what's coming up next, focusing on what we're creating, what we're magnetizing to us. But a very important part of the process is acknowledging the chapter that we are closing out. And this week, as we look at the Sky Bridge map, and I'm going to bring up a slide to show you that, remember that as we're manifesting from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, what we want to see come into fruition, we're also looking at who we need to be within that bridge of becoming. So I'm going to help us to look at that bridge within the big picture of how the eclipse cycle can help us do just that. And when we're looking at the eclipse, you might want to look in your own chart. So if you're looking at the outside part of the transit chart, looking at where the planets and the luminaries are at this time, and then on the inside of your chart, you'll see your own house numbers of where those lie, right? So for example, we're looking at an eclipse that's in the Pisces and Virgo axis. So for the last 18 months or so, we've been having that furthest part, that furthest place in the sky where the moon goes to be the Virgo to Pisces axis. The theme, devotion, the details and the devotion that we are focused on toward creating our dreams and turning that into reality. Now, last week, we had a different eclipse and we were in the Leo to Aquarius eclipse, where we are focusing on being the lead character we need to be in our own life in order to serve humanity and play our role in the collective based on our unique gifts. So those are the two storylines. We have one opening and we have one closing. So you might notice that in the last 18 months or so, you've been really focusing on what am I here for? Who am I going to be in this as I create my dreams, or I bring that next chapter into fruition. And we've been working so hard behind the scenes to be doing that and putting the pieces together. And now it's time to graduate from that. It's time to get out of that mindset and go into the mindset of the new chapter that we're actually bringing into fruition. So what you might want to do is look at what houses those fall in. So you could look at what house is my Virgo to Pisces axis. For example, mine is my private life and my public life and how I serve. So I have been ruminating, I've been reflecting, I've been working, I've been building in that, right? Where have you been doing that, right? And so then we move to the Leo Aquarius. Where do we do that, right? So I've been doing that in the house of where I find my own security and my value, living from my values in relationship to the other that I'm serving, right? And so you can look at where your storyline fits as we talk about what's going on this week. All right, we're going to share the bridge so that we can see what's happening for the week as we break it down. All right, so we start with Virgo season continuing again. Devotion sharpens into practice. So as you're going through your rituals of the day or your focuses for the week, we can look at where am I devoted to? What am I devoted to? So that all of that is a practice into becoming who you are becoming next. And our mantra this week is speak it plainly and then let it go. And I'm going to break down what that means so that we can use this information in a very practical and concrete way. All right, as we look at how our moon moves through the week, this would be our feelings, right? So what's the feel of the week? What's our emotional fabric like as we move through the week? We're starting in Capricorn on Monday, Moon Day, where we are getting the message to let our structure hold our soul. So if you're starting the week and you're feeling out of sorts, or you're feeling like you're just right into the flow where you want to be, either of those, right? Because we kind of show up on a spectrum of frequency. So where are you showing up, right? And you might show up in a place where you're like, wow, the structures that I have in my life, they're really holding me. I feel happy. I feel aligned. I feel joyful. I feel fulfilled, even though things might be going on in our lives or the world like they are. Or if we're coming in feeling, maybe we're feeling disheveled, we're feeling not in balance, we're feeling foggy, we're not sure where we want to be directed. We might want to look at our structures and say, you know what, these structures, these rituals, these routines, these systems I'm using, are they aligned to the next chapter? Do I need to really look at what was that old chapter? Am I done working on it? And am I ready to experience it now? Right? Let them hold your soul. So check in with your soul on this Monday moon day. On Tuesday, we have a lot going on. So we're in Aquarius with our moon cycle. Let your originality lead. So be the unique individual that you are and let your uniqueness, your freak flag, your quirks, let them guide you. You know, those make up the gifts of what you're here to share and what will help you get through. All right. So we have Mercury in Leo opposition the North Node in Aquarius. Old instincts meet an unfamiliar future. So does the old need to catch up with the new? Does the new need to catch up with the old? Like, what's the relationship here? It's literally like we're walking through a doorway of the old chapter into the new chapter. And as we've had one eclipse relationship between the two zodiacs and another relationship between two zodiacs, two houses in our chart, two houses in our chart. They're intertwining. So the ending and the beginning don't have a straight line end. They overlap each other. So we're letting the old go while we're at the same time letting the new come in. Okay, so we also have a bottom line kind of there. Let your voice lead into that future. Ask yourself, what wants to be heard? What wants to be spoken in me? Listen to yourself. Listen to your soul. It will help guide the way into that new chapter. All right. Also, we have on Tuesday, beginning of our week with a lot happening. Mercury moving into Virgo. Your words find their most precise home. This is a week of feeling also like you're coming home to yourself. What is truly home to you, right? And that precision is going to help you to direct your energy toward what you're creating, right? To magnetize the incoming, like you're an air traffic controller and the pieces are coming into fruition, right? If you have thoughts that are old, that are unserving, you're going to be magnetizing the same, you know what, over and over that doesn't land and doesn't fit and is not aligned. And if you're speaking truths, thinking truths, naming truths, and in alignment, you're going to be magnifying and magnetizing the things that are yours for that next chapter. Your words find their most precise home. Let your practice sharpen every message. The bottom line there, let your practice sharpen your every message, is do your words and your actions align, right? Do your thoughts and your actions align? Reverse it. Do your actions and your thoughts align, right? Different ways to think about that. We also have Mercury in Virgo trine Chiron in Taurus. Old tenderness finds a steady voice. Remember, when we're doing the loop-de-loops and we're rounding the bend, we're taking the curve, staying on the rails of our highest path as we go up, right? Our Chiron wound, the wounds of childhood, the wounds of past hurts, whatever they are, we don't really get over them necessarily in this lens that we practice astrology here, but we take the gift from them, the silver lining, the learning, and we have that help us to move forward. So that old tenderness might get triggered. It might speak to you and your opportunity in the game of life to go to the next level, da-da, da-da, right? Is to up level, to be the healed healer, to be the magician of transformation, the alchemist, right, in your life. And you take that gift or that healedness or that wholeness and you let that help you to go to this next creation that you're creating. So let your care speak as plainly as your voice. The ultimate self-care, if you know me, I would say, is living a life in alignment with who you are and what you want. I believe that's what we came for. We're having a human experience. So our emotions, our feelings they're informing us on our next steps, especially when we don't get too stuck in the human story, that we're able to remember we are a soul, a spirit, having a human experience, and we get to evolve in our game of life as we go, right? So we're spiraling up right now from old chapter to the new. We have the moon moving into Aquarius no, actually early in the morning that day. So we'll have a full Aquarius moon day on Tuesday and Wednesday, where we're really tapping into our uniqueness, our originality, right? All right, on Thursday, Jupiter day, we have the sun conjunct Mercury. Both of those are in Virgo. So we have our essence, something that the light is being shine on our path, right? It's the shining spotlight. Hello, what do we want to look at here? Maybe some enlightened views, maybe some epiphanies going on toward mid end of the week, where our voice and our practice now are going to become one. We've got the heads up, the tip at the beginning of the week. And so now we've been maybe practicing this and we can see how this kind of works together. Speak your truth and then live your practice. We don't have to know the how. We don't have to know the outcome, right? And a lot of the times it's best if we do let go of the outcome. But when we're being our truth, when we're living that in our practice, we see the things fall into place. More epiphanies come, more breadcrumbs, more dings, ding, ding, ding. And then we get to see that life come into fruition, right? And then we have our full moon happening. Our full moon is going to be happening in Pisces. And of course, we already talked about that, right? So toward the end of the week, for those 3 days or so, when it just looks like the full moon is out there, again, remember, it's not the exact moment of the full moon that's important, but all of those days surrounding it, right? And we will get to see in that Virgo and Pisces moment, or spaces in the cosmos. We'll see where that chapter is ending. So it's helping us to end. So we will have that moon in Pisces. Again, look at your chart to see where is that. A dream completes and then it softly dissolves. What do we mean by this? It means that we have been dreaming the dream inside, right? We've been working to align our lives inside. The chapter of dreaming and aligning to build the thing is leaving us because it's time now to actually live the dream. So we're kind of planting the seed this week to become the person who's living it. So what is the dissolving part? The dissolving is dissolving the thinking that we're creating the dream, dissolving the mindset that we're creating the dream. The dream's already here if we step into being who we need to be for that dream, right? Now, in the past weeks, we've done things like created a divine structure that our dreams could stand on. Before that, we were practicing becoming and visualizing and feeling into who we would be in that dream, how we would align to our dream. We were speaking our dreams into fruition. Now we're closing the chapter of being the dreamer and we're moving into actually being the version of ourselves that is our uniqueness, our gifts, fully being ourselves, trusting what that looks like so that we can be who we need to be to live it, live our life, right? Actually live it. So release what was only ever a season. A dream completes, then softly dissolves. Release what was only ever a season. If we stay dreaming the dream does not get to be lived, right? Let go of being the dreamer, dreaming the dream. And now we're going to start living it. So we're going to let the unseen, okay, the unseen guide us. And what do I mean by that this week? Well, it looks like this. We have on Friday the sun in Virgo squaring Uranus in Gemini. So our season meets a sudden shift. We might find by the week's end we're all of a sudden really in the space of being ourselves. So if it's the thing that we've been looking at, like, oh, I've got to get this in place and this in place and this other thing in place, I've got to get these words just right. I need to figure out how to map these pieces out. I need to get clarity around this. We're going to be in a place if we're feeling like if we feel like we're really trusting, right? This is a time to not wait for all the pieces now. Like, live it. We start living it. We let the season go that was a season of practicing it, of thinking about it, of dreaming about it. And now we start living. And it's taking that leap, almost living on the tightrope. You're living on the tightrope. You're not looking down at all of those details, all that 3D that can hold us down, but we live as if we live up there on that tightrope, keeping it tight, keeping our mindset, our vibration, our frequency, our humor, our love, our joy, those emotions, those frequencies that we know keep us in a place of constant epiphanies, constant synchronicities, constant dings, right? While we're still going through the pieces that we need to, but we will be coming from a different consciousness. So what's happening is here, we're having a consciousness leap. We're not solving a problem from the same consciousness that created it. And I'm not judging that consciousness. I'm just saying we used to be in a place that we were being the dreamer, dreaming the dream. We're jumping in our conscious now. We're being it. We're being that person. So the season can go, right? And sometimes surprises happen. The things will show up and they might not be what they what we were thinking they were going to look like. This is why it can be so important to let go of what we feel the dream will look like, to be the dreamer in the dream. Now we actually start living it as if, and the pieces will show up. If we're so attached to the dream and what we were feeling it to be like or look like, we might just miss the surprises that are all around us where our dreams are in fruition. So that's that. Let the unseen guide you, because it's constant epiphany moments, awakening moments, just one after the other, like pinch me, am I dreaming? No, you're living it. You're living it, honey, right? And then the moon moves into Aries the late evening on Saturday. So on Sunday, ding ding ding, Aries, house one, right? Aries, house one. We have courage, we have ambition, we have mission, we have spiritual warrior kind of archetype. We're courageously being the leader in our own life. Otherwise, how does it come into fruition, right? How do we live it if we aren't the one that's living it, not caring about naysayers, not caring about whether other people are going to think, not caring about what could go wrong, because then that's what we're giving our energy to, right? We are stepping into it. So this is kind of a leap week is how I would kind of look at it. All right, a couple of other things that I really wanted to break down and share this week. We have a couple more. I actually want to show you a timeline. So in a little bit, I'm going to show you a slide that's going to show you the timeline of the eclipse that's been happening, and then the timeline of the eclipse that is happening, that's kind of starting, and how we are here in a space of both of them overlapping. I'll show you a visual for those of you who are the visual learners in just a bit. But I wanted to tap into the powerful questions that I have for us for this week, because I think that I think they can really be pivotal and helpful. And again, those people who've been really answering the powerful questions, each curated by a specific transit, have really been finding life-changing results. So here goes. Where is an old story asking to be outgrown, not fixed? So instead of being in our mindset that I need to fix this thing, I need to do this thing, I need to create this thing, how do I get over this obstacle? No, instead just realize I'm there. I'm there now, or I'll be there by the end of the week. If we have those thoughts that there's still things we need to do, we can have the acknowledgement, the feeling, the knowing, oh, I've outgrown that. I've outgrown the questions. I'm ready to be there now. Also, what becomes clear when you finally say it plainly? So if you're getting stuck, if you're feeling that that's a big jump, listen to yourself, listen to your soul. Just say plainly, clearly, simply, what do you want to be living? What are you living if you're there? Simple words. I feel like essentialism is what this week is about. What's essential? Similar to minimalism, right? Where we're taking a lot of the excess off, but even more potently, essentialism. What is necessary? What needs to go, right? And then what are you ready to let dissolve before it turns to dust, right? So when the thoughts come that are things around things you're not complete with yet, things you're still creating, questions you have about how to turn this into reality, just name it. Let's just name that we're done with these things. Bye bye. Bye, Felicia, right? Like, let them go, because then our mindset, our focus, our directed energy can go toward what is, right? All right. As we go deeper, we can look into our charts and our houses. And I thought that this week we could look at, where is Pisces? What house is Pisces in? Because that will help you to know that next chapter that you've been dreaming of, that theme there. And you could also, if you want to, look around that degree and see, are there any other planets? Are there any other luminaries there? They might give some clues as well. And then you could look up your Mercury gate. We did that earlier this month as well. But the Mercury gate, I think something could be really helpful this week. We know that Mercury is around communication. It's around mindset, right? It could be around speaking too, right? So this week's Mercury current asks, where does precision want to enter your voice? So if there's pieces that you're getting stuck with, if there's pieces that feel like they're important to focus on, how could you let that precision that's happening in this eclipse portal with Virgo to Pisces, how can you let that precision enter your voice? Just simply naming things, naming what's outgrown, naming where you are going to be, which is where you already are. If we're fine tuning with precision, right? And then the practice, when you're ready to speak, say it once plainly and then let go. No follow-up needed. So if you let something go this week, just let it go. And when you find that it comes back into your consciousness, into your awareness, let it go. Because we have a brain that is having something like, don't quote me because I don't have the number correct, but something like 70 to 90,000 thoughts per day, and something like 90% of them are the same thoughts as the day before, unless we flip the script, unless we update our brain, right? I think of it as our soul operating system. What feels old? Like I'm done. I'm just done having this percolate. I'm done having this repetition in my mind. Just say goodbye to it. That's all we have to do. Just clear it, right? Just defrag. Just click the update button, but we don't have to do the work of trying to figure it out. Just no, yes to the new, and no to the old, yes to the new, and no to the old, and yes to the new, right? That's it. Just you don't have to say a word, just whatever. Just like bewitched with her nose, right? That's it, right? All right, so I wanted to show you this timeline overlap so that we can get a little vibe of this. Okay, so if you want to screenshot this or just request, if anyone wants to have the Astrocast Skybridge map or this visual. So what we have here in blue is the Virgo to Pisces axis that's been happening, right? We're closing that eclipse chapter. We're going to have one more coming up in February, and that says 27, and yep, that would be right. And we've had these for 18 months, mind you. Now we've got a long road, about 18 months ahead of having the Leo Aquarius ecliptic path. Okay, so we're here, and this next theme of having eclipses in Leo and Aquarius, Leo and Aquarius, Leo and Aquarius, as we have that chapter playing out, will go through January of 28. Okay, so it can just be helpful to have these bigger picture thematic ideas or containers of what's happening in the bigger story. Why is that helpful? What's the practice that's been handed down through the ages with eclipses is that they act like a drain. So if you want to take away, it's simply this. This week, as we have the Virgo to Pisces axis, if we think of the lower trait qualities of Virgo, perfectionist, paying attention to all the details and getting lost in the weeds, those are some things to let go of. But precision based on presence Much better than perfectionism, right? Perfectionism, lost in the weeds, details, obsession with being, anal about the details, and perfectionism, performance. Instead, presence, right? Devotion. What are we devoted to? Let that be where we focus on in our rituals or our details. And then we can go to Pisces and think, so airy fairy dreamy that we just stay with no form, where we get overwhelmed in all the feelings of it. It's so vast, it's so overwhelming. We forget to ask, what am I serving? What am I serving in the dream? That bumps us up to sacred service, ideal dreams. We get judged, we've gotten judged throughout our lives about being idyllic or having ideals. Well, then how do the ideal dreams come into fruition? I'm going to give you the hint to be idealistic this week. Go for the big dreams. Let them be the precision. Let your standards for what you feel you're here for in your higher path, your higher calling, right? The road is there this week. Will you jump to the higher, right? So it takes those higher characteristic traits of Virgo and of Pisces, and just practicing being those. You could do an internet search for higher frequencies of Virgo, higher frequency traits of Pisces, or you can request a cheat sheet where I will send you some. I have them as well. When we have the Higher Self Hub up very soon, they will be there. I've been working so hard behind the scenes. And I'm following a lot of my own translations of what I'm giving. I'm doing that same thing. I'm letting it dissolve that I'm working on it. I'm already being her who has the hub ready to go, right? All right. So as we end this week, with our sky map, we close the actual chapter of the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces soon, right? We have one more to go. We have one more to go. We have this idea of trusting what's completing, the old chapter of dreaming. Surrender the outcome. Trust that unseen is coming into fruition beyond what you could imagine, right? Mercury makes it practical. With Mercury meeting the sun in Virgo this week on Thursday, it's the day to say the thing you've been rehearsing. Have the conversation you've been waiting to have. Publish the words you've been sitting on. A week to go away from perfectionism, waiting for it to all make sense, waiting for all of it to come together first. You've got to take the steps on the tightrope. Take the leaps into being who you need to be. Right? Let the chapter close. Be done with the chapter of readiness. By the time the moon reaches Aries at the end of the week, you're not just releasing, you're stepping in to who's next. You're stepping in to who is next. Comment below if you want to share what house your Pisces full moon is happening in. Let us know down below if you want any cheat sheets for frequencies of the zodiac character traits. I can give you a one page that tells you the high and low frequencies of the traits of all of the zodiac. Also, let us know down below if you have any of your own translations for the transits. How is it going? Where are you? Where are you? Are you being that version? Are you kind of mid? Are you stuck? Let us know. Now, I also said that I would be giving some rising sign messages, and I did not do that yet. So I will. If you comment below, it'll help me to know who wants to go first. So I did say that I would do this for Leo risings because I was really getting some some messages in the translations, and for Cancer risings and potentially Gemini risings. I'm not going to necessarily do all of the rising signs. I'm not going to fit into that formulaic way, but these are the three that have been speaking to me most. So let me know. Please like the channel because it will help others find us, and subscribe if you want to not miss out on the next cast I do. All right. Be well, my friends, being your higher self, staying on your higher path to live your higher calling.